Back. Today, we're talking about the J-8B. The reason I'm talking to you about the J-8B right now is because I wanted to highlight how little favors Gaijin gave this plane after um, it was added. Okay, so let's start with the radar. Naturally, it's got the Type 208A radar, which is not a pulse Doppler radar. It doesn't also have ACM modes. For its gun, has the P shooter 23 millimeter gun, the water cannon on the MiG 21. So don't expect to be doing any good dogfights with this. It also has only 200 rounds, which will deplete almost immediately. At 11.0, where you can be facing anything from an F4 to an F16. Its weapons there. The weapons are the PL-5B, which is a good IR missile, but it's not all aspect. The Aspide, which is the fastest Sparrow in game, Sparrow or Sparrow derivative at Mach 5.0, while the M7F is just Mach 4. There's the HF6, which is an unguided rocket. Though I don't know why you'd use this as a CAS vehicle, because there are better CAS vehicles like the Q5L and the F16. But I want to highlight the Type 250 for a bit. I want to show you what the Type 250 is when you pick it. If you get the Type 250, you get Mark 82 bombs. So I know you're saying maybe they don't have the model for the Type 250, which is wrong because the Q5L has the Type 250s. See? 250-3, see? Yeah, you got one there, 4 here, and you got another one here, so total of 6. So there's really no point in flying the J-8B and Air RB, because if you're just planning to chuck the PL-5Bs, then just run the J-7E, which is at the same BR, only slightly more expensive and probably the repair cost. But if you want to do the J-8B, why not? It's got a, if you like the flight characteristics, although the J-7E has better flight characteristics. The J-8B, there's really no reason to use it if you already have the J-7E. So, oh, and yeah, you know the RWR and the J-8B. Yeah, it doesn't have 360-degree coverage. It has hemisphere coverage. It'll tell you from which quadrant you're getting locked on from. You got the 10 o'clock quadrant, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 7 o'clock quadrant. It doesn't move. So, yeah, it's like the MiG-21's SPO-10 RWR. The radar's got 30 kilometers range, but yeah, you're at the mercy of flares and chaff. I mean, just chaff. So, yeah, there's really no point to taking the Aspides on this. Just take the PL-5B. There's no ACM mode, so you can't really missile joust, because you will lose just trying to lock someone on, and they'll just chaff it anyway. So yeah. So the J-8B, as I've said, was added without a pulse Doppler radar during Winds of Change, where in that update, aircraft like the F4J and the MiG-23 MLD existed. The PL-5B used to be great, honestly. It had a lot of energy going off the rail, and having such a small seeker bore sight allowed it to evade flares or ignore flares reliably before the recent rework. At 11.0, it gets to fight 12.0 aircraft like MiG-29, SAC-141s, F-16s, and others like the F-14, Raj 2000. And as if that's not enough, at one battle rating step higher at 11.3, you got the F-4S and F-4J with the AIM-7F and a pulse Doppler radar. There's also the Tornado F3, which has both AIM-9Ls and Skyflash Super Temps. The J-8B has at least the fastest Sparrow or Sparrow derivative in game, the Aspide 1A, which tops out at Mach 5, in comparison to the AIM-7F that only tops out at Mach 4. However, without a proper pulse Doppler radar, it's really at the mercy of flares and chaff. The safest bet to run is to pick 4 PL5Bs and just skirt around the map at low altitude. Try not to be caught in a protracted 1v1 with the aircraft, as the J-8B's turn rate is dependent on its energy state and it can't keep up with most planes in sustained dogfights. On top of that, the gun is a Chinese copy of the MiG-21's 23mm water gun, so you really gotta know how to shoot it. So how do we actually make the J-8B better? There's 2 ways to make it a better interceptor. First is to give it the Block 2 upgrade that gave it the real Type 208A radar. The Type 208A radar has look-down, shoot-down capability, unlike the Type 208 radar in-game that the J-8B uses. Paired with the Aspide 1A, this could give the J-8B a good missile jouster with a Sparrow that can't maneuver as good as an AIM-7F, but is only second to the R-27ER in top speed. The next method is something that will probably happen down the line, and it's to give it the PL-8 missile. It's essentially a Chinese licensed production of the Python 3 missile and can be paired with a helmet-mounted sight on more modern Chinese aircraft like the J-7G, but can still use bore sight tracking on aircraft without this helmet sight capability. The J-8B Block 2 was the first of the J-8Bs to be fitted with a PL-8. At this point in time, the PL-8 and Python are just too good to be added along with comparable missiles like the R-73, so it'll take a bit longer to see them in game. However, if the PL-8 is too much, there's really no reason not to ask for the PL-5C, which is basically a PL-5B with all aspect capability. It's not actually unreasonable to ask it for something like the J-8B. But, however, I think that Gaijin will give China a new J-8 or J-7, probably the J-7G or J-8D for their 12.0. I think neglecting the PLA side of the tech tree just because the ROCAF got their F-16 is a bit lazy on Gaijin's part, considering the PLA has a wide berth of aircraft to be added. It's like the Q5L issue all over again, and it really hurts China's viability at top tier. Basically, PLA aircraft at top tier is the equivalent of Taiwanese tanks at top tier. That's right, there aren't. Well, that's about all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching. Godspeed.